So if you keep putting your attention on what you don't want, if you keep saying, I don't want this thing, I don't want this thing, I don't want to be in debt, I really don't want to be in debt. How am I going to get out of debt? Debt is such a big problem for me. I just need to get out of debt. Eventually someday I'm going to get out of debt. You can be very creative about how you're going to keep focusing on debt, right? You know, ever notice that? You're like, or anything. You can be so creative and still keep focusing on the same thing, just from so many different angles. And all that does is it reinforces that thing, right? Now you have so much clarity about so many different angles on the thing that you don't want, all the different ways that you don't want to be in debt, and all the different possibilities of how miserable it's going to be to continue to be in debt. How scary it's going to be when things get even worse, when the debt is even greater, and when they come and repossess everything, and how terrible that's going to be. And how you really need to figure it out. You need to figure out how to get out of debt. Someday I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to come up with the right scheme. I'm going to get out of debt. But you notice the common theme is the thing that you don't want. So what's happening is that you're fixing your perception on the thing that you don't want, which is creating that in your imagination. So will you see if you're focused on the debt or the narcissists or the trauma or the illness or whatever, if you're focused on the thing you don't want, are you going to see what you do want? Probably not. I'm reminded also of there's something called sleight of hand. You might know about sleight of hand. It's how a lot of magic works. So the magician is very skilled at directing your attention where he or she wants your attention, which is anywhere other than where they're doing the thing that will then appear to be as magic to you. There were some people, I think at the University of Illinois, some years back, who did this research into a related kind of phenomenon, and they published a video you can probably still find it on YouTube. I won't ruin it for you. If you find it, you could just probably search for University of Illinois, maybe basketball illusion. But it's all about where to put your attention. And your attention is directed in a particular way, you will be amazed at what you will not see. So you might check that out, because that's a pretty good example of how something can be right there staring you in the face and you will not see it. This is why putting your attention inwardly is so powerful, is because it's all about where you're putting your attention. And internally, if you pay attention to what's happening inside, you'll notice where your attention is going. Out of habit, your attention goes to everything that you don't want. Just notice. Do yourself a favor and just for the next week, every day, observe as much as possible where your attention is internally. Notice what you're thinking about. Notice what you're imagining. And I can promise you that to the degree that you are unhappy with things in your life, to exactly the precise same degree, that's where your attention is going internally. You're thinking about those exact things that you don't want, that you're experiencing. If you want to make the change, then this is the good news, is you can make the change internally. And it's not through force. So this is really, really important. You can't force yourself. You have to relax, because you have to become more aware. It's all about awareness. There's no way that you can force yourself in this whole process, because the more you force, the more that you tense up, and the more that you're not actually going to be able to see what's staring you in the face. But the more you relax, the more you'll actually start to notice, and through that, you'll have choice. Because you'll start to realize that you don't actually have to keep doing that. You don't have to keep looking at things in the same way. You don't have to keep doing things in the same way within yourself. You actually have more options, but that comes through this relaxation and the realization of the choice. And this is why, again, a lot of people don't have success, is because they're trying to force things. They're just trying so hard. They have to just keep trying harder and harder and harder and harder. And as a result, they get more and more tense, which limits the internal options and therefore the internal clarity. But the more that you relax and you're just aware of what's happening, just notice, just relax and be aware. Notice where your attention is going internally. What are you thinking about? What are you imagining? If you do that consistently for the next week, that would be a fantastic start. Then you could just keep doing that, but at least do it for the next week, because you will start to notice through that that you have more awareness, more options, and it allows you to begin to shift your attention to what you do want, because that comes through the awareness. If you cannot be aware of what you're already doing, you're not going to be able to make the change. But when you become aware of what you're already doing, then you can make the change. And it happens through relaxation and awareness.